Power to the People, Black Panthers, 1968. We built this as a simple fire homestead gasifier. Simple fire, that's something that a guy named Gary Gilmore developed, and a lot of details on drive-on wood about that. I'm just going to sort of supplement the still pictures on this build with a little bit of video. Everything on this gasifier is available at Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, except for these ammo boxes, and these came from Harbor Freight. You can get them any place. That was just real easy, convenient, and cheap for me to get them there. Let me try to spin this around a little bit. These two boxes were sealed all the way around with silicone and then bolted together so that the 4-inch hole goes through both of them. This is looking down through this hopper, which is this 6-inch black stovepipe, into the reactor down there, and I'm going to tear this apart and show that separately. This is the two ammo boxes joined together. You get gas will come up. This is a updraft gasifier, and gas will come up through this 6-inch stovepipe to get into this ammo box. I had to put a 6-inch to 4-inch reducer on it, and then bend the tabs, make tabs on the top of the reducer, bend them over, and embed them in silicone. The main thing about this gasifier, any gasifier, is that you get no air leakage anywhere in between from where the system starts to where it feeds an engine. It's got to be all completely airtight, otherwise it will not work. So anyways, the gas comes up through a filter, through another filter, goes into this pipe, comes out, goes around up through a blower, and then there's a T here, a ball valve. This will feed the engine through a flexible hose, or however you want to get that hooked up. But before you can really do that, you have to start making gas. To make gas, the blower sucks gas and whatever's in the mixture up through the system, and then it'll vent out through this pipe with a ball valve on it. And so when you're making gas, you'll flare it off. You get a nice blue flame, you know you're good. You shut this valve, and then you open this valve, and you can pump gas to the engine. At that point, the engine will take over suction. You can shut off the blower, and the engine itself will draw gas through the system and run. Guess a couple of things we need to be aware of is that this blower has a 3-inch opening on it, and in order to get this PVC to work, you put this is all 2-inch pipe, all 2-inch PVC. You put a 2-inch coupling on it, but to get it to seal, you have to wrap a little bit of tape around the outside of the coupling, and then it will make an airtight seal. But you can see the same thing right here. But I I tape all these seams afterwards anyways. I don't like to glue them all together because then they're stuck there. You don't really have a chance to change anything around or whatever. So basically that's the way the system works. I'm using 2 filters on this. The first one is just a grout sponge, about $1 a piece at Menards anyways, and I can blow air right through this, so that's your first line of defense. All the you're going to use charcoal. I'll show you the type of charcoal you use, but that is poured down through here and then into the reactor down on the bottom. The other filter, and I'm not even sure how necessary this is, whether or not you couldn't just use 2 sponges or whatever in there, but anyways, this is a 4-inch T, ductwork T, and it's got a 4-inch cap on the bottom. This then this is an old sock. Nothing too important there. Let me just get this tape off of here. Then I don't know if you can see it, but inside this sock is a bunch of fuel grade charcoal, just crushed up charcoal, and then that fills this up. Then this slides into here, and I'm not going to bother locking it in place with the tabs right now, but at any rate, then when the gas comes up through the hopper tube into the first ammo box, then it'll come through the foam filter down through this charcoal filter. It'll pick up any kind of extra particulates, hopefully most of the soot or whatever, and then be fed down through this pipe. One of the reasons you use these ammo boxes is because they have a gasket on the top of it, and that provides an airtight seal. And as I said, air is your main enemy on this kind of a gasifier. One other thing is that I've gotten condensation, water condensation, in some of the other things I've built, and so if we get any water condensation, it's going to drop out of that filter. There's a hole in the bottom of that filter. It'll drop out, it'll go through this hole and then into this is just a peanut butter jar, catch jar, so that'll pick up any of the condensation that comes in. Also, that jar will be filled with water, and there's a little needle valve on here, and we can drip water. This isn't hooked up yet, but water will drip down through some tubing and into this T down here, and that T feeds air into the reactor, and when it hits that hot area inside that pipe, it'll flash to steam, and then you'll get extra oxygen and hydrogen out of the system. It will run better. The only tools you really need to build this are a drill, an angle grinder with cutoff discs, a 2 1/4, a 1.5 inch, and a 1-inch hole saw. And on the still pictures, I've shown how to cut these 4-inch holes, but if you want to save yourself a lot of work, you could buy a 4-inch hole saw to drill out these holes and get a nicer, cleaner job and a lot easier. You could mount this various ways. I just had an old hand truck, and I just set the bucket on the bottom on the base of that and bolted the ammo can to the top of the hand truck. And for me, it's good because I want to be able to move it around and use it for different places, different engines. So this is the best way. But anything that would hold this ammo box up and keep it from falling down would be sufficient. You could screw it to a tree if you needed to. So at any rate, that's pretty much all we have here. I'm going to do a separate little video about this bucket reactor on the bottom. But this will provide power to a small engine. I'll have to test what you can run on it. I have 212cc engines and 400cc engines, and I'll try this one on both of them. I haven't run it on one of those engines yet, just because winter got in the way. But at any rate, this just gives you an idea of what you can do and how simple you can do it. Once you have these parts, this whole thing can be assembled in a few hours, actually. So anyways, we'll move on to the reactor.